Good morning, welcome to Create and Craft. It's a Sunday, and let me just remind you that if you spend over 50 quid this weekend, you only get free P&P. Oh yeah. So sit there in your PJs, lucky you, because if you were here seeing what I'm seeing, I've only done this first shift a couple of times, and it always makes me smile because it's like something out of a Michael Jackson Thriller video with all the crew coming out all the corners and behind counters and things, but they're all waking up, don't worry. Somebody who is awake, though, thankfully. Jenny Raymond, hello, Jenny. You well?
I'm absolutely fine.
Long time no see.
Yes.
Now, a quilting classroom.
I know, a teaching.
This is brilliant.
Teaching. You know, everybody gets to clutter off, and I get you all to myself, you see.
I'll go and sit at the back over there with my notepad.
And then you only have
notes.
to come back if I get in a right frazzle.
Like I'm going to do any good, Jenny. If you can't do it, there's no chance for me. But let's take a quick look at some of the things you've got for us.
Right, starting off with these sets. Now, these are sets of 8 templates. Now, they come in a neat little bag and on an attached retaining wire. And they are 8 templates that are different sizes. But the nice thing about these templates, and this is the square set, is that they are, A, very accurate. They have on them your seam allowance mark. So these are the great things. If you're a beginner and you want to do hand sewing or even machine sewing, you can cut round the outside, you can draw around it, cut with scissors, mark your seam allowance on, and then sew along the drawn lines, if that's what you like. They're great things for taking on holiday, for perhaps the more experienced one. I took mine on holiday because I could draw around them in the car, I wasn't driving, do some sewing, and I just had to take one template with me. It's also very good for anyone who's worried about sizes. Yes, we have multi-size templates. Yes, they are good too, but for some people, multi-sizes with all those lines are confusing. So this is your square set.
And these come off of this ring, do they?
They all come off the ring. You can store them on the ring.
Yep.
I tend to keep mine off the ring simply because I want to grab this one, that one. But for those who like to give a present, it's a beautiful one. It comes in a nice, neat little bag. So if you don't want them on the retaining wire, then put them in the bag and keep them. So 8 different square sizes, seam allowances marked. All the sizes of the squares are put on them. You cannot go wrong. OK, price on the screen there, £11.89 if you want the square set. Right, then we have the hexagon set. Now, these are 8 different sized hexagons, and indeed in the new book that's coming out on the 26th, you will see that I've got a hexagon box where you could actually use the squares to make the size or the sides of the hexagon box. Again, you've got the seam allowances marked. Clear, easy to do, so you can mark your seam allowances on, you can sew around them, 8 different sizes, easy to do, no problem at all with understanding exactly which size you've got. So great for beginners and indeed the expert. OK, item number 384861. Again, the club price, £11.69 if you're in our club, and really you should be in our club. I mean, why would you not want to be in our gang? Absolutely, and you need to stay in it as well. Right, and here is the exciting one, because this is the one I'm using today. I hadn't seen a pentagon set. Now, I've seen all the other shapes. Yes, I've been around the business quite some time, but I've not seen anyone bring up pentagons, and pentagons do all sorts of things. If you Google pentagon designs, you'll be amazed what you can do with a pentagon. They don't fit together, so they don't tessellate, but they can. Tessellate means fit together. Oh, okay. Squares, rectangles, triangles of various sorts tessellate, they fit together. Tessellate, that's my word of the day. Various other shapes need a different one to make them fit together, like octagons need a square. So you could have your set of squares if you wanted to have octagons, but that's by the by. So here you've got pentagons, and what you can do with a pentagon is actually quite incredible. And I have chosen today in the classroom to do a bowl with it. Ooh. But there's bowls and bowls, as you will see. So 8 different sizes, easy to mark, great, very different template, nice to play with. 383305 is your item number if you'd like the 8-piece pentagon set, £11.69 if you're in our very special club. Right, this next template that's here is the Star and Geese patchwork ruler. Now, this does 2 different shapes, and I'm not going to be demonstrating this on a show, but it's here for a reason. There is a competition, and the competition is to use this ruler, make a 24-inch square something or other that can be hung up and will be at next year's Festival of Quilts. All you need to do is have the template, and you can do what you like with the shapes, because you've got a half square and a quarter square triangle, but you have a play. We'll talk more about this at future quilting classrooms, but there is a bit of up front if you fancy having a go, and we might even use it in the sort of general overall quilt next year, but I'll think about that. Jenny, you know I'm going to ask lots of stupid questions, because I always do. It looks like a triangle shape. Why is it called a Star and Geese? Well, it's called Star and Geese because there is a patchwork called Flying Geese, but it also does a star. And the Flying Goose patchwork is technically this shape here. The red triangle with two smaller triangles on the outside edges. And how this ruler works is that the red lines do the red triangle part and the black lines do this smaller part. And the ruler's very well marked out because there's your red shape there. But this end, you've got the black triangles here because they are two different triangles. But in essence, the Flying Goose template or shape is that bit.
Okay.
But if you put those together, you can make a star.
Now we know.
It's a super template.
Okay, 372750 is the item number. The club price is £17.99. This is a good size one, isn't it? These do come together, do they?
These come together. Now, these are your classic, your core
ruler.
shapes, yes. If you're beginning patchwork, and let's face it, the winter is coming. I know we've got another week of summer, but winter's coming, and patchwork is ideal. You can recycle fabrics. You can use your old clothes up. You can make memories, but you need a square and a ruler, and indeed a rotary cutter and a mat. And if I were teaching patchwork, and somebody wanted something to buy, these are the two you have. This does your basic square up to 12.5 inches. Many blocks are 12.5 inches. So a block, Beth, by the way, is a piece of patchwork. So you just cut round the edge. This will fit half a yard of fabric folded in half. Yep. So it's ideal to cut down. It's got the angles on it. It's measured out in the all-important 1/8 of an inch, because in patchwork world, 1/8 of an inch matter. So great beginner's set.
And great quality, you can see that as well.
Yeah.
192719 is your item number. Your club price is £38.69. If you want it on flexi payment, we can do that for you as well. £19.35 on 2 flexi payments.
Right, now we've got a set. This is a junior set of similar to the one we've just had, where you've got a considerably smaller ruler and a considerably smaller square. But you've also got a half square triangle. And a half square triangle takes into allowance the seam allowance. Now, I've used this half-square triangle with scraps to make something I call Scrappy Zappy Do, and here's an unfinished quilt top. But the half-square triangle has actually been used in 2 places. One, to cut out the triangles I've got at the back here, because that's a triangle, and the other to cut out smaller triangles, which are folded in half, and because they're folded in half, that arced line round there can be rolled back in this arch shape.
Excellent.
And you could use those,
like holly.
Yes, for making a rather nice sort of scrap quilt.
Yeah.
So great tools. Great again for anybody I use these all the time.
Yep.
Great for taking to classes, and if you're wanting to begin patchwork and you don't want the big set because you want to keep it quiet, then that's an ideal one to pop it in your basket and you've got that.
299147 is the item number for that. The club price is £24.29.
That's not
£24.29.
bad at
That's
all.
pretty good. And if you already open the flexi basket, just whop that in there as well.
And 50 quid gets you free P&P.
Exactly. So it's been worth adding to your basket to get free P&P.
Right, we've got 2 very different shapes here. We've got a 30-degree triangle. We have got a 45-degree triangle. And the reason for these being here is I wanted to play a bit more with this triangle and have a go at doing chevrons, as you'll see in the classroom when I come to explain it. And I've made up a small quilt top using that as a border design and this in the middle. So 2 very different shapes. They can be fitted together because 330s make 90 and 245s make 90. So you can mix and match to a certain extent. But these are multi-size templates, so they'll do any size of 30-degree triangle up to 9.5 inches, and this one will do any size of 45s up to 6.5. As we go through the show, when we get to that part of the classroom, I'll show you some rough ideas as to what you can do with those 2 templates.
Excellent. OK, item number 347796, and your club price is £15.29. Pizza for breakfast?
Right, no, a rotary cutter. Oh. And as, of course, you will be aware that you will keep the cutter blade covered.
Oh, that's very true. I never saw that before.
Oh, yes, and that is absolutely de rigueur. There is no argument about it. The second you have finished cutting, you put the guard over that, because that is razor sharp. Now, here we have the mat. So the mat is for use with the ruler and the rotary cutter. You cut round the shapes with your rotary cutter. Yep. It's a self-healing mat, so it doesn't matter how hard you press, it will heal up again.
Really?
This particular mat has the double advantage of having inches on one side, so it's imperial one side and metric t'other. So you do your paper crafting on that side, and yes, you can use this for paper crafting. What I tend to do is keep the old blade, where I perhaps nicked it with a pin for my paper crafting, on the odd occasion when I do some, or cutting out, I don't know, anything, cardboard for templates, and then I can use a new blade for my patchwork. So this side can be your paper, it's marked out in metric. This side can be kept clean from all that glitter that paper crafters
yeah, if I'm anything to do with it, we're covered in glitter,
patchwork. So two ideal things to have that work in conjunction with everything else.
So you get the mat, you get the rotary cutter, and you get a replacement blade as well. If you're in the club, and you really should be in the club price is just £17.99p. The book?
The book. Now, this has the book for the full instructions on, if you wouldn't mind opening the book at that page.
Absolutely.
So here is the little quilt top I showed you. But this book has in it a whole load of other ideas for which the set of rulers we got on the show, the square, the triangle and the little ruler, would be absolutely ideal. It basically takes you through block ideas. If you just flick very briefly through it, Mark. It also has some funny stories in it. That's why you don't
we like funny stories. Why not? What's wrong with that picture?
My skirt was stuck in a hotel room door, and the key was in the room behind me, which was locked.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
There are some other stories. So again, using the same template I've just shown you, and there are blocks in there, there are projects in there, from bags to quilts to anything else, all clearly explained in photographs, because I believe that if you can see a picture, then you can actually see that does your thing look like the picture. Okay. So we've got the
275978 is the item number if you'd like that. The club price is £13.49.
And that's pretty good price there. Right, now out and use it as bunting. It's an excellent bunting shape. I have taken the shape, and we've done it many times on the show, and cut the shape out. For instance, if you were to join two strips of fabric and you were to cut your shape out, putting the point of the 30-degree template on the edge of the fabric, cut up one way, turn the template round and cut the other way, remembering to replace the point of the template or whatever mark you're using on the template in the right place. These pieces can be fitted together to make a design. You can just go on. And you can make a very nice mat design with that. Makes a great Christmas table mat. And indeed, on one of the previous shows, I showed you taking these pieces, putting them together with an insert in the seam. And this is the insert that you'll find is in one of the blocks in the Foldy Roldy Patchwork book. I think it occurs in block number 3. And if you put that insert into the seam, i.e. you literally stitch it in when you sew the pieces together, lift it up and open it out and squash it, it makes a diamond shape or a petal shape. And if you repeated that all the way round, again I'll drop them on the floor, you would get that particular effect. Now I thought, well, that's all right. I'd seen a chevron. I thought, I wonder if you could do a chevron with the 30-degree, sorry, the 6, all these triangles get very confusing, the 30-degree triangle. You could make an interesting pattern. And so I came up with this idea. And there it is. Now, this particular idea is formed by taking strips of fabric and joining them together. Was a novel way of doing it. It's not really for the raw beginner. You might want to be a little bit more advanced to do this. I've taken strips of fabric, and they can be any width. The ones I've got here, I use 1 3/4. You could use 1 1/2. You could use smaller. Take your strips of fabric, which are cut the full width of the material, but if you sew them together at an angle, a 45-degree angle, you will actually save material, because I'm going to cut it at 45. I found using the board was very good for doing this, because I could lay my strips onto the board, look at the 45-degree angle, and sew the strips so they're being angled in. You'll see why. If you are going to do the chevron, you will want 2 strips, and they have to be a mirror image. All right, that is a mirror image. This strip is a mirror image of that one, i.e. I can put it on top and it fits exactly. What I did then was to get the chevrons was I took my rotary cutting ruler and I cut a 45-degree angle. And this is why this ruler is so good, because the size of it will fit just about any strip. One end has your 30 degrees and 60 degrees, the other end has your 45s. And if you place the ruler on the top, so the 45-degree angle is along the edge of the fabric. Now can you see the reason for putting my strips at a line so that I'm not going to waste fabric, and literally cut up there. If you now take your template, place the template on the top, so turn the fabric round, I'm right-handed, place the template on the top. Don't worry about the fact that there's a bit sticking out, you'll see why, and you cut. And then turn the template round, and again don't worry about the fact there's a little bit missing there, it works. You'll have to just come into your template there. Bear in mind, and please make sure that you've got your two fabrics right sides or wrong sides together. You've got to cut them out simultaneously. Replace the template, flip the template over. So, you know, little bits hanging out the end here do not matter, you'll see why. And when I open these pieces out, look, I get that shape, see? And I get his friend the other way. And I could sew those together, and I'm going to get an interesting design. This is play, I know it's play, but it's just to show you that you don't just have to stick with the template. You could actually take different pieces of fabric, sew them together, and then cut them out with the template at a different angle. And when you sew all 6 together, you'll get this effect. And I thought, right, it's a good template, that one. If we put it with the 45 one, we could make a small quilt top. And I'm just going to go and fetch it from over here. And here is the small quilt top. Because I liked the darker parts of the design the best, I didn't really care for it with the multicoloured here. I wanted to use all the same. So in fact, I got enough to make a second one with this as an edging. So I chose to cut 6 of these sections, put them all together. Then you've got a slight problem with the edge. How are you going to get rid of the edge? Well, the good old interfacing trick works well. Literally, put a piece of interfacing so the interfacing is right side down. We've done this before, so all the way around the edge. Slit the interfacing, turn it through. And then you can see on this one, I've cut more of the interfacing away, just to leave a little bit. This can then be applied, and I've applied it to one of the fabrics that we had on the show. These are 2 pieces of fat quarters stitched together. I used other fabrics to go around the edge. Now, you may not like the colours. Colours are very subjective, but you can do these designs with just fat quarters. When it came to the edging here, I thought, hey, the 45-degree template makes a really good border. And let me briefly show you how you can make the border. So we'll pop that to one side. The 45-degree template can be used literally just to cut out the various pieces. Here it is there. And we use this border on the edge of the strippy, stripy story quilt. So if you take your 45-degree shapes and you just put them together, you can very easily get an interesting pattern. But if you didn't want to do the 45-degree border, you could always use the 45-degree template, which is done here, and it makes the classic kaleidoscope design. These are simply putting 45-degree shapes together. You get an octagon, and the corners of the octagon are then finished off with half square triangles, which is where the half square triangle we've got on the show in that little set of rulers is absolutely ideal. So the 45 one can be fitted together to make a border. You could indeed use the 45 one to make your classic kaleidoscope using a strip of fabrics stitched together where you just cut the shape out. And then you finish off by adding the corners. If I can find where I put the template, which has gone walkabout, there it is. This is the shape that you will need to cut the triangles out to fit on the corners. Fit it on the corner, and then you can use the squares we got on the show to square it off. You have no idea of how good those rulers are. You just have to have them. And one last thing to show you with the 45-degree template before I allow Mark to come back is, of course, you could use it as a Dresden plate design. And all you do there is take the classic shape, your 45-degree piece, fold the end over, and let's just come to this little sewing machine. This is the super duper Simplicity sewing machine. It has a really nice table here, does a wide variety of different stitches, easy to use, speed control. You can use it without the foot control if that worries you. To do a 1/4 inch, very simply, I can just move the needle to 5.5, pop the piece of work underneath the presser foot, and just listen to that machine sew. And then at the end, if you sew onto your scrap, your Oni, Offie, your thread saver, call it what you will, cut behind the presser foot. The way that you would turn your 45-degree shape into the Dresden plate pointed design is clip the corner off, press the seam open and flat with the clover mini iron, turn it right side out, poke the end out. If you've got the bamboo pointer and creaser, that's good. If not, very gently do it with your scissors, and that will give you the shape which, if you sew them together, will make a very nice 8-pointed design. So the templates we've got here, the 45 one, multiple uses. The 31, multiple uses. So many things can be done with these templates. You will be able to find further details on how you use them is online. Just simply put in the template and you can look at various YouTube videos. And that, I think, just about wraps up the quilting classroom. So we've been through the pentagons, where we've looked at making a pentagon bowl, inspired by current husband. There. This is actually going to be a secret box, you see, because we're going to put something in it, seal it up, which is why it hasn't got its bottom there, and it'll be a time capsule to be opened in the year 3090, when people will be able to see what the Raymond Diamond family have been up to. And I am going to give some of this mess to whoever is in the spotty potty.
This mess, Jenny.
I know.
I thought you were old school. Have you seen the mess in there?
No.
That's a time capsule. I was just saying, what year was it? 3320?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be 29 by then.
I should think so,
yeah.
yes.
Listen, it's fascinating watching all this.
I
popped upstairs and I tessellated myself a cup of tea.
Good.
Because that's word of the day
Good.
now.
Right.
But what are you giving away?
Well, what I'm going to give away, I think, is the pieces to make one of these.
Okay.
Oh, I'll give away in fact, I'll do two, because I really do not want another night. So somebody can have the pieces to make one of these, and somebody can have those.
Excellent.
And I'll find them.
Well, you've had loads of emails. I've not been here to read them out for you, but they're all very, very complimentary. They're enjoying your demos.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, the next classroom is sometime in October, and I'm doing a Christmas thing. Right. The first set, which should be the bits to make that, is going to go to...
That's going to Marilyn in Lulworth in Southport.
Right, that's going to have... And the other lass is going to get, or gentleman, is going to get the other bits, and I will tidy them all up, and this is going to go to...
To Hayley Freeman in Leicestershire.
Right, absolutely super. So there we are. Thank you all for watching.
Yeah.
And for being... They're very good, because they sit there, they tell me, they sit there in their jammies with their cup of tea.
Yeah.
And I gather somebody does a really good impression of me, because I say the in a particular way. So for that particular person, the...
Yeah, we want the photos, really. Listen, I've been sat over there on my Jim Jams with a nice cup of tea watching you and making notes. It is fascinating. When you end up with something like this...
Yes.
It's...
I was very... I liked
fascinating.
that. I mean, if you don't... You might say, yellow is not your choice of colour, but I really liked that idea.
Yeah.
And this, you could always wear it.
I don't know what you've had in your tea this morning, Jenny, but listen, are you back later today?
No, I'm not. I'm
That's
not back till
They've dragged you in early
26th of September
to do one show.
We'll be on. Yes, I know, but it's a classroom, you see.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's
well, listen,
they watch it.
Absolutely, they do. Thank you very much, Jenny. Lovely to see you again. And I will be back with you in an hour from now. Dino is here with Corinne. They've got some amazing stuff lined up for you there. So whatever you do, grab yourself another cup of tea. You don't need to be getting out of your Jim Jams, and we'll see you back here with me anyway in an hour from now from some more amazing stuff. From me and for Jenny, enjoy the rest of your morning. Take care. Bye-bye.